Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information comes from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History,
historical calendar,
and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else you might find interesting, check the description below. Anyway, I am Aozander.
I am me.
And today is Freya's Day, also known as Friday, April 29th, 2022.
In 1091, Battle of Lerunion, the Persians are defeated by the Byzantine Emperor Alexios I Komnenos.
Jumping on up nearly 300 years in 1386, during the Battle of Vikra River, the Principality of Smolensk was defeated by the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and became its vassal.
Yeah. 1429, Joan of Arc arrived to relieve the siege of Orleans.
The actual pronunciation is Orléans. So, New Orleans, Louisiana is actually New Orleans, if you want to see it, in the French way. Well, you take this next article here. The last one was a little short.
And in 1483, Gran Canaria, the main island of the Canary Islands, is conquered by the Kingdom of Castile.
Ooh, interesting. Jumping on up into 1521, during the Swedish War of Liberation, Swedish troops defeated a Danish force in the Battle of Västerås. And in 1624, French King Louis XIII named Cardinal Richelieu chief minister of France. Interesting.
In 1760, the French forces commenced the siege of Quebec, which is held by the British.
One decade later, in 1770, James Cook arrived in Australia at Botany Bay, which he named. So
nice.
He named it Botany
11
Bay.
years later, the American Revolutionary War, British and French ships clashed in the Battle of Port Royal off the coast of Martinique.
In 1826, the galaxy Centaurus A, or NGC 5128, was discovered by James Dunlop. Interesting, discovering galaxies all the way back then, 196 years ago? And then in
1852, Roget's Thesaurus, created by Peter Roget, was released to the public.
Interesting. In 1861, Maryland, in the American Civil War, Maryland's House of Delegates voted not to secede from the Union. Well, good. Yeah, that would have been horrifying. Because then our capital would have been surrounded.
Yes, it would. 1862, American Civil War, the capture of New Orleans by Union forces under David Farragut.
I saw what you did there. Well, I heard what you did there. Nice.
Farragut.
Farragut. Farragut is a class of ships, if I remember correctly. Anyway, in 1903, a landslide caused the deaths of 70 people in Frank, which in the district of Alberta in Canada. That sucks.
Yep.
Caught in a landslide.
1910,
Sorry.
the Parliament of the United Kingdom passes the People's Budget, the first budget in British history, with the express intent of redistributing wealth amongst the British public.
Communism! That sounds like communism. Redistribution of wealth? I don't like the sound of that. In 1911, Tsinghua University, one of mainland China's leading universities, was founded. Alright.
Okay.
And then 5 years later, in 1916, during Easter Rising, after 6 days of fighting, Irish rebel leaders surrendered to British forces in Dublin, bringing the Easter Rising to an end. Like, guys, just let Ireland be free. Come on, like, Seriously, they clearly don't want to be under the British rule.
1916, World War One, the UK's 6th Indian Division surrendered to the Ottoman forces at the Siege of Kut, one of the largest surrenders in British forces up to that point.
Dang. Let's see here. 6th Indian Division surrenders. 1916. So let me look it up. Let me just see the numbers here. 1916. 6th Pune Division. Siege of Kut. Here, there was a Siege of Kut, right? Yeah. Its population was around 6,500. Following the surrender of the garrison, the survivors of the siege were marched to imprisonment at Atepo, during which many died. So 6,500 in a surrender. Wait, no, the besieging of an 8,000-strong British Army garrison of the town of Kut. So wait, strength. Well, I don't know. I can't do math. My brain's not functioning properly apparently at this time. I'm just gonna post this link in the underbar for anybody who's interested. Why can't I find where to go? There it is. Alright. What am I doing? Okay. 1944, during World War II, New Zealand-born SOE agent Nancy Wake, a leading figure in the French resistance and the Gestapo's most wanted person, parachuted back into France to be a liaison between London and the local Maquis group. So my God, the Gestapo wanted this person, like, number one, and then they just jump right back into behind enemy. What the, my God. This guy doesn't need gravity, his balls make his own gravity.
Yes, he's SOE, Special Operations Executive.
Ah. Good Lord.
They were one of those type of people that was hit like that.
Yeah. I salute you, Mr.
Or
Mrs. Nancy Wake.
Okay. She published an autobiography, The White Mouse. The title derives from what she said the Germans called her.
Dang. Why don't you take the first two 1945s here?
Sure. 1945, Dachau concentration camp is liberated by United States troops.
Good.
In 1945, the Italian communist of Fornovino del Taro is liberated from German forces by Brazilian forces.
Also in 1945, during World War II as well, within the Führer bunker, Adolf Hitler married his longtime partner Eva Braun in a Berlin bunker and designated Admiral Karl Donitz as his successor. Hitler and Braun both commit suicide the following day. Here we go, tomorrow. Mussolini died yesterday, so...
Yep, in 1945, World War II, HMS Goodall is torpedoed by U-286 outside of Kola Inlet, becoming the last Royal Navy ship to be sunk in the European theater of World War II.
Oh man, yeah, that's right. You know, World War II ends soon in Europe. So, also in 1945, during World War II as well, airdrops of food began over German-occupied regions of the Netherlands. Dang. Then moving on up into 1946, which is only 76 years ago, if you believe that, the International Military Tribunal for the Far East convened and indicted former Prime Minister of Japan, Hideki Tojo, and 28 former Japanese leaders of war crimes. Good. Good.
1951, Tibetan delegates arrived in Beijing and signed a 17-point agreement for Chinese sovereignty and Tibet autonomy.
2 years later, in 1953, the first U.S. experimental 3D television broadcast showed an episode of Space Patrol on Los Angeles ABC affiliate KECA-TV. Cool.
Cool.
Nice. Dang. 3D in 53.
Yeah. 1965, Pakistan Space and Upper Atmosphere Research Commission, Super RCO, successfully launched its 17th rocket in the Redbird series. Redbird.
Huh. In 1967, after refusing induction into the United States Army the previous day, Muhammad Ali was stripped of his boxing title. Man, that's just not nice. Come on.
Yeah. I don't get it. They stripped him of his title, but yet 3 people who didn't go to Vietnam were allowed to become president.
Yeah. Go figure, right?
Clinton, Trump, and Obama.
Didn't Bush do the same thing? Like he dodged going to the military, right?
No, he was in the military, but he fucking went. He went late.
Yeah.
His dad still went in the military.
What happened after another 365 days? 1968.
1968, the controversial music hair, a product of the hippie counterculture and sexual revolution of the 1960s, opens up in Baltimore Theater on Broadway with some of the songs becoming anthems of the anti-war Vietnam war movement.
Yeah. Nice. 2 years later, in 1970, during this Vietnam conflict, United States and South Vietnamese forces invaded Cambodia to hunt Viet Cong. So it looks like we just declared war on Cambodia then.
Also, 1974, the Watergate scandal, the United States President Richard Nixon announced the release of edited transcripts of the White House recordings related to the scandal.
Would you mind trying that again? You got really robot-y.
1978, the Watergate scandal. United States President Richard Nixon announced the release of edited transcripts of the White House tape recordings related to the scandal.
In 1975, during the Vietnam conflict, Operation Frequent Wind occurred, in which the U.S. began to evacuate U.S. citizens from Saigon before an expected North Vietnamese takeover. U.S. involvement in the war came to an end. Well, that's interesting. The Vietnam conflict, ended on a calendar date not too far off from World War II ending in Europe. That's intriguing. Also in 1975, during the Vietnam conflict as well, the North Vietnamese Army completed its capture of all parts of South Vietnamese-held Cheong Sa Islands. You there?
And 1986 Chernobyl disaster. American and European spy satellites captured the ruins of the reactor 4 at the Chernobyl power plant.
Dang. Also, same time in 1986, at a fire in the Central Library of the City of Los Angeles Public Library damages or destroyed 400,000 books and other items. Wow. That's a great loss right there.
Also in 1986, the United States Navy aircraft carrier USS Enterprise becomes the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to transit the Suez Canal, navigating from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea to relieve the USS Coral Sea.
Yeah, I think I think I saw a video about that a while ago. I don't really remember the full thing. Anyway, jumping on up into 1991, which was 31 years ago. That seems so far away. Isn't time strange? You know how things that are old, are actually newer than they seem, but things that are new are actually older? Like, if that's making any sense. Anyway, a cyclone struck the Chittagong district of southeastern Bangladesh with winds of around 155 miles per hour, which is 249 kilometers per hour, causing the deaths of at least 138,000 people and leaving as many as 10 million homeless. Oh my God. Jesus. 10 million. I don't even know how to react to that. God damn.
Also, 1991, the 7.0 MW Ratchet earthquake affects Georgia with the maximum MSK intensity of 9. Destructive, killing 270 people.
Dang. There's more people than who... Actually, no, it's not. Never mind. In 1992, riots in Los Angeles following the acquittal of police officers charged with excessive force in the beating of Rodney King. Over the next 3 days, 63 people were killed and hundreds of buildings were destroyed. Well, that doesn't do your stereotypes any justice. What happened in 1997?
1997, the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993 entered into force outlawing the production, stockpiling, and use of chemical weapons by its signatories.
Yeah, the U.S. Still did. We did not obey any of the laws that we push on day one. So, moving on up into the next millennium, in 2004, the final Oldsmobile was built in Lansing, Michigan, ending 107 years of vehicle production. Oh man, that's a tragedy.
Also, 2011, the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton takes place at the Westminster Abbey in London.
Okay. 2 years later, in 2013, National Airlines Flight 102, a Boeing 747-400 freighter aircraft, crashed during takeoff from Bagram Airfield in Parwan Province, Afghanistan, killing 7 people. Well, it sounds like just a crew, but that sucks.
Also, 2015, a baseball game between Baltimore Orioles and the Chicago White Sox set the all-time low attendance mark for Major League Baseball. 0 fans were in attendance for the game, as the stadium was officially closed to the public due to the Baltimore protests.
Okay, so that's stupid. Why the hell would they have a game when the stadium's closed? What the... That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Of course they're not going to have anybody there. That shouldn't even be a record. You know, that's ridiculous. Anyway, before we move on to the births and deaths, any articles spark your intrigue?
Not really.
I was going to say, Hitler marrying Eva Braun, and to remove himself from this world just 2 days after his idol got removed. This baseball game thing, it was interesting. Oldsmobile, that was a tragic thing. The LA riots, I was around here when it happened. So, I was 5 years old when it happened. Yeah. That cyclone, like there's quite a bit of things here. The fire at LA Public Library, the aircraft carrier thing, the satellite images of Reactor 4 at Chernobyl. The list goes on. That's just my take. Oh yeah, and the Vietnam War coming to an end and everything. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Why don't you start off our burst here?
912, Miyamoto no Misuka. Nah. I can't. Japanese samurai.
Doing nearly a double time jump here. In 1814, we have Sadok Baraks. He was a Galician religious leader, historian, folklorist, and archivist.
1847, Joachim Andersen, Danish flautist, composer, conductor, and co-founder of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra.
Ooh. 1858, Georgia Hopley was an American journalist, temperance advocate, and the first woman prohibition agent.
Okay, prohibition agent.
Yeah, I guess she worked with the government during the prohibition of, the 20s?
Yeah. 1863, William Randolph
Hearst. Sorry.
American publicist and publisher who founded Hearst Corporation.
Yep. 1863, Maria Theresa Ledochowska, an Austrian nun and missionary.
1882, Hendrik Nicholas Workman, Dutch painter, typographer, and Nazi resistor.
Yeah. 1891, Bharathidasan, Indian poet and activist.
1900, Concha de Albanzar, Spanish feminist and intellectual exiled during the Spanish Civil War.
1 year later, in 1901, Hirohito was born on this date. He was the Japanese emperor during World War II. Or actually, no, that was Tojo, right? Like, the Hirohito, he was a Japanese emperor, though. I'll just say Japanese emperor. I might be wrong. 1922, we have Helmut Krakoweiser, an Austrian motorcycle racer and journalist. What a name, Helmut Krakoweiser. So, like Helmet Crack? Like, not a good name to be a motorcyclist. You there, son?
Yeah, I see.
Who was born in 1925?
1925, John Compton, St. Lucian lawyer and politician who was the first Prime Minister of St. Lucia.
1928, we have Heinz Wolff, a German-English physiologist, engineer, and academic. And his photo from my source was pretty interesting. Like, he looks like a... Oh god, he's wielding fire. Okay, he is a nut job. This is the photo I saw in my source, by the way. Sohan can't see it right now, but I'll just post it in Mikeless for you, Sohan. Let's see here. There you go. Anyway, who was born in 1931?
1931, Chris Pearson, Canadian politician who was the first Prime Minister of Yukon.
The first premier of Yukon. 2 years later, in 1933, Willie Nelson was born on this date. Happy birthday! He is a U.S. singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and actor. And I'm still waiting for Weed Fest, the sequel to Beer Fest. Get on it!
Also, 1936, Jacobs Rothschild, fourth Baron Rothschild, global elite piece of shit, waste of space, who standing over controls the world's space and is by extension every country save North Korea.
Look up the history of the Federal Reserve, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bilderbergs. Did I say the Red Shield yet? I'm not sure. But like the Federal Reserve, the IRS. I haven't referred to this video in a while, but there's a video out there. It's about a half hour or so long called The American Dream, and it's a cartoon, and it's very informative. Go give that a look after this video, of course. Anyway, 1938, we have Bernie Madoff, a U.S. businessman, financier, and convicted felon. You there?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us who was born today in 1952?
David Icke, English football and sportscaster.
Now, my source is very wrong, and they're seemingly trying to invalidate this guy. He is, like, he has, like, a lot of stuff out there. He's like a British Alex Jones, more or less. There's a 9-hour talk he does. I wouldn't recommend sitting through the whole thing at once, taken in pieces. But, like, he's one of the first people to have thought up the whole reptilian thing. That's, as every day passes, starts looking more and more accurate. So give his stuff a look. David Icke, really smart man. Anyway, 1954, we have Jack Burton Carpenter, a U.S. snowboarder and businessman who founded Burton Snowboards. 1954 as well, we have Jerry Seinfeld, a U.S. comedian, actor, and producer.
1957, Daniel Day-Lewis, British Irish actor.
Yeah. 1958, we have Michelle Pfeiffer, a U.S. actress.
1964, Federico Castelluccio, Italian U.S. actor, director, producer, and screenwriter.
1970, Uma Thurman, another U.S. actress.
1978, Bob Bryan, and 1978, Mike Bryan, both U.S. tennis players.
Yeah, sounds like twins. 1984, we have Lena Krasnoyarskaya, a Russian tennis player.
1984, Vasily Xantropoulos, Greek basketball player.
And last but not least, in 1987, rather unfortunate name, Nut Borsheim, Norwegian golfer. What a name. Must be crazy with a name like Nut. Anyway, jumping on up into deaths, we have 643, Hu Junji, Chinese general and politician who is a chancellor of the Tang Dynasty. Delicious.
Hey, for a nut, if he gets arrested, do the cops bust a nut? Yeah.
That's bad and you're going to hell.
Hey, 1630, Agrippa de Bagain, French soldier and poet.
That was a good joke, dude. That was a good joke. 1743, we have Charles Irénée Castel de Saint-Pierre, French theorist and author.
1771, Francisco Bartolomeo Rossetti, French-Italian architect who designed the Winter Palace and Catherine's Place.
I think I looked these up before. I'm just going to go ahead and take us up into 1854, in which Henry Pagan, first Barquois of Anglesey, is this supposed to be Barquest or something? I don't know, Barquois, died on the States. He was an English field marshal and politician who was a Lord Lieutenant of Ireland.
1945, Matthias Kleinheisterkamp, German SS officer.
1967, we have J.B. Lenoir, U.S. singer, songwriter, and guitarist, and I cannot figure out what his actual name was. It's not letting me know. So, oh well. Forever a mystery. 1968, we have Lin Zhao, a Chinese dissident and Christian who was executed during the Cultural Revolution. Yep. They kill their own who's been exposed to Western culture. What makes you think they're going to treat Westerners any better? People wake up. In 1980, we have Alfred Hitchcock, unfortunately died. English-U.S. director and producer. Made The Birds and various other movies. And started off as books and such, and then it was like movies. He had a TV series and everything. In 2001, we have Arthur B.C. Walker Jr. was a U.S. physicist and academic. A.B.C. Walker. Interesting name. What's his actual name? Arthur B.C. Walker. Arthur Bertram Cuthbert Walker Jr. What a name. That is one heck of a name. Why can't I find it? There it is. Copy.
U.S. 2010, Sandy Douglas, English computer scientist and academic who designed the OXO.
What is OXO? Sandy Douglas. Let's see here. Sandy Douglas. OXO. It's a video game. OXO is a video game developed by A.S. Douglas in 1952, which simulates a game of noughts and crosses. It was one of the first games developed in the early history of video games. Douglas programmed the game as part of a thesis on human-computer interaction at the University of Cambridge. Well, that's interesting. I thought it was a programming language. No, it's a video game. Definitely adding that wiki into the underbar. In 2011, we have Joanna Russ, a U.S. writer, academic, and feminazi. the source said that she was a radical feminist, so even if a liberal source says that you're radical, then you must be way off. 2012, Roland Moreno, a French engineer who invented the smart card. What was the smart card? Smart card. A smart card, chip card, or integrated circuit card is a physical electronic authorization device used to control access to a resource. It is typically a plastic credit card size card with an embedded integrated circuit chip. Okay, so that's what he did. That's what it is. And who else died today?
2015, Jean Niedertz, U.S. businesswoman who co-founded Weight Watchers.
John Panette has a really good bit on Weight Watchers. He wanted to start like a black market for points or something. Anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, check the description for any links you may be interested in, which also includes
Sohin TV on Twitch.
And everything Omni Coalition. For your Notes to Past Events Daily, we stream every day between 12 noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Time.
7 to 10, plus 5 to 5 Central.
Yep. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
I'm me.
And you are you. And until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Let's go, Brandon.